Sorry. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Foster City. We are the club that, and our secret sauce is the friendship and teamwork of all our members. So now for the pledge of the day, for the pledge, Latissa.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And part of the day is Bob Kaplan.
So this is a new Rotary year. We have a new president, Shiraz. So a couple quotes about July. May the month ahead be filled with an abundance of magnificent miracles, blissful blessings, and splendid surprises. Welcome, July. And the second one, entering into the 7th month of the year means that the next half of the year is yours. Welcome, July, with positive vibes only.
Yeah. So you may sit down. And again, we'll continue with the fundraiser that Curtis started, which is a cell phone fundraiser. So if you keep your cell phones on, you get 25%, you get a 50% discount. It's only $25 donation to the club. So I see we have a lot of new wonderful faces here. So do you want to start with the tables in the back, visiting Rotarians and guests of Rotarians? Latissa? Welcome. Patricia, nothing at your table? He's giving you a mic.
Rich Helsang, it's his 3rd time visiting us, and he likes us and might be joining. So that's great. Yay.
Here, I have a couple of scholarship winners here, which we'll announce in just a few minutes, and we'll introduce them. Thank you, and yes, thank you.
Betty.
I'd like to introduce for the first time as a guest to our club, Jean Chow. She lives in my building, Foster Square. She spent 30 years at the telephone company in San Francisco. We're thrilled to have her.
Yeah. Welcome, Jean. Over there at the back table.
Today we have visiting for the 2nd time Sharmila, and she is looking to join the club, and she incidentally is neighbors with the county manager, Mike Callaghy, so I'm sure she's already been vetted.
My fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Stacy Jimenez. I think a lot of you know her, and you'll be seeing a lot more of her in the future.
Welcome, Stacy. Anybody else?
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I'm happy to introduce our new city manager and former Rotarian from Hayden, Idaho. Stephen Chapman. Stephen.
Thank you, Jack. I think that's it. We covered them all. Thank you. And now for birthdays. I'm sorry, I think the mic is today unusually loud. I'll step back a bit. So for birthdays, we have Jill Archer, 11th July, and then Steve Droz. Happy birthday, Steve. 11th July. Is it? Oh, okay, it's wrong. It's, okay, so we have to make that edit in Club Runner. Okay. Okay, so anyway, so 2 birthdays to Steve Rose then. And wedding anniversaries, we have Jim Hardy and Louisa for 40 years. Melanie Maxwell and Joe, 34 years married now. And Alison Proctor and Fong Dang, 15 years marriage. So I don't know if Alison is online. Congratulations, Alison. No, I don't. Alison, no, I don't see her. And then Rotary anniversary is Gigi Carter, 17 years on July 14th. Good news. Anybody has good news? Bob Kaplan, right in the back.
My wife and I had an interesting evening. We heard a sound coming from our new fountain. And it turns out last night there were 9 baby ducklings in the fountain.
Wow.
So we shepherded them out, long story, but reunited 8 of them with their mother, sort of in a no man's land behind our house. Then we had one that appeared to be injured, and county animal control came out and took the baby duck to safety after my wife kept him warm in her hands. So we hope he's okay. We don't live in Foster City, but if this had been there here in Foster City, it would have been duck, duck, goose.
I'm pleased to announce that both my husband and my dog have survived their attack of last Saturday. In fact, the dog is being treated today, having the brains taken out, I hope. My husband came off much, much better. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some good news. My youngest son, Daniel, who's up in Grass Valley, he just got named the new superintendent of the high school district, or Nevada County and Auburn.
Congratulations. So I just wanted to say that, I want to thank everybody who does the good news, and the Happy Bucks. It's a donation to our operation budget. So that's one way we raise money for the operation budget, is your good news and the Happy Bucks donation that you give to the club. So thank you very much. Cindy?
I have good news too, and it's kind of hard to see you guys because we're sitting over here, but it's very nice to get to sit with a couple of kids again. I haven't been around kids for a while, so thank you, Letisa. And my other good news is really, I want to say how nice, and it's kind of an odd thing as good news, but it was good news. The memorial service for Donna was a really lovely, lovely event and very different. It was really a true celebration with music, and I learned a lot about Donna that I didn't know, and it was even a video of her playing the piano. So it was a really nice memorial service. So
thank you. I will tell her daughter.
Okay, and Curtis has one here, Jack.
Thank you, President Shiraz. My wife asked me in June, when is your president term over? I said June 30th. So on July 1st, she put me on a plane to Oaxaca, Mexico. She wasted no time getting on that family vacation. So we had a wonderful time there. It's a city, I think it's the 3rd largest city in Mexico. It's their mile-high city, so it's 5,000 feet in altitude, temperate temperatures. I even caught a Warriors game there live. The Oaxaca Guerreros. Guerreros means Warriors, and they're a Mexican League baseball team. So
Wow.
that was really fun. So
Yeah.
great to be back.
A well-earned holiday, Curtis. So I have good news also, and last week, you all know, was my first meeting as the president, and I know Rotarians are great, but then I never expected such a good community outpouring of support from all of you. I got so many emails, just, telling me that was a good meeting, that you appreciated the speaker that we had last time. So that's my good news, that I'm really touched by our community and friendship again. So thank you so much to all of you. And now we have Patricia Nutting for Sunshine Report. Jack is coming. And
I have had communication with Allison Proctor. She and her family had the best vacation ever in Maui, and they all returned home COVID positive. So she was pretty sick, but they're all recovering at home. So they're doing better than what they were.
thank you, Patricia.
And by the way, I want to mention, I'm the new Sunshine person. So if you have anything at all, like if you hear someone's ill or anything at all you would like to share, let me know.
Yes, and I have to say that, Patricia, I just made one call and I asked Patricia, we need a new Sunshine Report chair. And she said, sure, I will do it. So thank you very much. And Teresa Pope, will you please come forward?
And while she's coming forward, I just wanted to say one more addition to the Sunshine Report, which is that Gigi Carter tested negative. Yay!
Hello, everyone. Just laughing. It is my pleasure to announce today that we have a vocational craft speech today from our very own Chief of Police, Tracy Avalar. So Tracy, if you want to come up, please.
Good afternoon. So vocational talk is anything you sort of want to talk about, your profession, personal, whatever. So just for the guests, that's kind of what this is. I hope I don't get emotional. Okay, so my vocational talk is my journey as a police chief. In my first vocational talk, I was not a police chief yet, and I told the story of how I became a police officer and my journey to where I was at the time. Today, I thought my phone is ringing, dang it. If it's work, it doesn't count. Okay, it's on my watch, I'm not telepathic. Okay, today I thought I would tell you about the 971 days that I've been a police chief. Not counting. My current position is the police chief of Foster City Police Department, and I've been in my role since November 14th of 2019. Immediately upon taking over as chief, the city was in the midst of a heated recall, which at the time was something we had not dealt with. Staying politically astute, but remaining apolitical, as they say. I thought this was incredibly challenging. But then in January of 2020, FCPD had been working a sexual assault case and obtained arrest and search warrants for the suspect. During the service of those warrants, FCPD had an officer-involved shooting, the first in the city of Foster City. Handling a critical incident, especially an officer-involved shooting, really challenges you in a way that not many other situations can. There's a literal spotlight on every moment leading up to the incident and after. Your training records, your policies, your investigative abilities, and most of all, how you support your personnel. As we muddled our way through that process and worked to comply with legislation requiring the release of records, the body-worn camera footage, and the criminal, administrative, and DA investigations, I thought that was incredibly challenging. Then early 2020, we started to hear about a deadly and dangerous virus. By March 2020, we started to witness the world shutting down. We had to adjust our shifts to ensure the safety of our employees, but also to ensure that there wasn't a large outbreak that would take out the entire PD at the same time. My captains and I were in a conference room using the whiteboard to create shifts that never overlap so that if one team was exposed, 15 days quarantine at the time, we would still be able to provide public safety to Foster City. The word unprecedented was starting to smack me in the face, and it was incredibly challenging. Then May 2020, we saw a video. It was of a police officer that had his knee on a man's neck. Sorry. It was of a police officer that had his knee, I'm such a girl, on a man's neck while he lay dying, saying he couldn't breathe. Literally in front of the world, and there was no justification whatsoever. Every police officer wearing the, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Every police officer wearing the badge, past, present, and to this day, was condemned for that killing. It seemed like the world had tilted on its axis. Civil unrest, reimagining of police, budget talks, and legislative laser focus on law enforcement. And why I love change. Whoa, sorry. What we were seeing felt a little like punishment, and we had to grin and bear it. I thought, wow, the universe really wants to know if I will have what it takes. Sorry. We were successful in managing COVID, but the mask mandates and community impact was beginning to wear people down. April 2020 started a long and uncertain period of instability with multiple city managers and even a stint of acting city manager for me. Since becoming chief, I've also taken on roles in other areas. I'm a founding board member of Leadership Council, San Mateo County. I'm currently the vice president of the San Mateo County Police Chiefs and Sheriffs Association, slated to be president in 2023. I'm currently the chair of the Law Legislative Committee for Cal Chiefs and second vice president for California Police Chiefs Association. I'm slated to be president of California Police Chiefs in 2024, which will make me the second female chief to be president in its 58-year history. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm complaining. I tell you my journey as a police chief because I'm proud of what we've done, what everyone at the police department has done, and of what we were able to accomplish as a city. Thank you. I don't know why.
Thank you, Tracy. That was really very touching, emotional. Well, you know, emotions are positive. I mean, so anyway, I come up with even more positive news for all of you. I'm sure you are all going to love this. And that is that we met yesterday as a board and we've decided, we voted on it to have $20 per member technology fee. And that is because we have all this equipment and sometime or the other, every one of us is on Zoom. And we need to manage this equipment. We need to manage these laptops. We have to upgrade them, things break. And that is the money that will go into our operating budget to manage all this equipment. So it will be $20 per member technology fee. Okay, thank you. Next is the club picnic, and Debbie Williams has asked me to make an announcement. It's going very well. I think 50 people have signed up already. It's $15. It's this Friday at 5 p.m. Bring your own drinks. The cooking crew is actually going to make hamburgers and hot dogs and 2 salads. There is going to be a dessert also, but remember to bring your own drinks. And if you haven't paid and signed up, please sign up with Debbie. She's right in the back over there. Curtis, you are up next.
So just a quick announcement on the concerts in the park, which are going to start on the 15th of July. The Rotary Club of Foster City is now going to be participating in the parking revenue. So we need to have some people help with directing parking. Jimmy Ness is kind of leading the charge on the operations, but we'll need about maybe 3 or 4 people for each date that we're going to coordinate the parking. But that's a good fundraiser for us. We had never participated in that before. You will be any volunteers would have to be able to be standing outside and directing cars for several hours. So just keep that in mind. But I'll have a sign up sheet going around when we have more details.
Cindy Sims, Community Service Chair, for the next announcement.
I'm just kind of following up with what Curtis told you, except for I'm going to focus on the coming summer concert, which is the first one that we cook and serve at, and that is July 22nd. So it's not this Friday, but it's next Friday. And I have a sign-up sheet, and hallelujah, it's going to be a real nice summer concert process like we're used to. And so we'll need people to help with setup. We'll need people to help with serving. And we will need people to help sell beer and wine. We've had a little reprieve with the certification for the beer and wine servers. The ABC liquor requirements went into effect July 1st, but we have until August 31st. Think about that, August 31st. That means all the summer concerts and all that will be over. We have until August 31st to get certified to serve alcohol and liquor. Now, I am going to send out to you via Club Runner the website and how to get certified. It's a $16 cost, not much. We're going to ask you guys to, if you want to be a server, to pay for that, but it's easy. But you don't have to worry about that for the summer concerts, which is really good news. So if you will take a minute, look at what you're doing on July 22nd, sign up. Thank you.
Summer Days is going to be really fun because I don't know if you all realize we are going to be the sole providers of wine for the summer festival on Friday and Saturday. And for that, I have actually spoken to a vineyard in Livermore. They have award-winning wines that they are going to give it to us at a very good price. So we are going to be selling one of the best local wines over there to people. So I hope that all of you come because this is going to be a great fundraiser for our club. And next is Linda Grant.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Zoomers. I'm here to announce that we're doing the introduction of pearls. We did it in January, as you recall, and we do it twice a year, so we do it in July. So it's coming up on July 23rd, and introduction of pearls is on Zoom. It'll be a Saturday morning on the 23rd. It's 5 segments: leadership, leading a meeting, Rotary and you, communication, and public speaking. And so just a show of hands, I think I did ask this when we did it in January, but how many people have attended Intro Pearls? So a good many of us have. So would love to have you join us. There's some flyers on the table for the link to register. If not, and you don't have that, just contact me and I'll give it to you. Thank you.
Rich Mozzini, if you will come up here, please.
Once again, I'm honored and privileged on behalf of the Rotary membership to be giving out a couple more scholarships today. It's always fun to be up here and give away money to very needy students. We already have in the last 3 or 4 weeks given out 8 community service scholarships to high school students at San Mateo, Hillsdale, and Aragon High School. A couple of weeks ago, we gave out 2 community service scholarships to 2 deserving students at CSM. And today I have the pleasure to give out 2 vocational training scholarships to a couple of worthy recipients from CSM. So with, forgot again, we gotta thank Nancy Gordon, okay? I mean, Nancy Gordon is making this possible. I mean, from, you know, enhancing the number of scholarships to the amount. And with doing that, we don't have to touch our foundation funds, which means we can give out a lot more money for community service projects. Okay. Our first vocational training scholarship recipient is Etta Daly. She will be beginning her second year at CSM, studying in the cosmetology department. But that's only a snapshot of what this young lady is all about and how strong she is. She has been in this country for 6 years from Peru. Her English extremely limited when she came over here, and she spent almost 3 years at CSM learning one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn, English, okay, with all those damn silent letters, okay, that are all over the place. So prior to starting her cosmetology training, taking ESL classes to gain proficiency, it's been a long road, but she has persevered. She has worked part-time during her whole time. She feels that cosmetology is a field that helps people with their self-esteem and is a very rewarding career. She hopes to open her own salon on the peninsula and make the necessary connections to make it happen. Her motivation to succeed is to help her family in Peru and her future family here. And her husband is here as well, and she will introduce him. He surprised her by coming in here about 20 minutes ago. A few months ago, she lost her father in Peru from COVID. Even with all this hardship, she decided to continue her education because that is what her father would have wanted her to do. We hope our financial support will help her fulfill her dreams. I want to introduce Etta Daly. Would you please come on up?
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. Talking about my dad is.
Sorry.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for accepting me. Yes, the Rotary Club scholarship. This scholarship means so much for me because as an immigrant to this country and someone who's trying to accomplish my dream, all the help, it's good for my future. And again, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing my journey. And I'm sorry, I can't speak because I feel so emotional right now.
Congratulations, and we have that $2,000 check in there, okay? $2,000 check for you. And Anthony, take good care of her, Anthony. Her husband. Okay. Okay. Our second vocational training scholarship recipient is Olivia Hayes. Olivia has completed 1 year of her cosmetology training at CSM and will complete the curriculum this coming semester. She has dreamed of doing hair and makeup as long as she can remember. Like our first scholarship recipient, she too has persevered through some very, very hard times. From sleeping on couches in hotels, cars, group homes, and foster care, She says that because she has seen the lows, she will someday appreciate the highs. Her and her little sister remain resilient and are determined to break the cycle. She first went to cosmetology school in Santa Cruz. And here more comes. The school shut down because the owner fled the country with all the students' money. Her loan was expunged, but the 50 hours of on-the-job training internship would not count, so she had to practically start over. A friend sent me a reference letter that states, quote, Olivia throughout her life has endured a tremendous amount of hardship. Regardless, she has continued to work hard toward her goals with an exceptional work ethic. What she now needs to be successful is financial support, and $2,000 is going to be given to her today. Come on up, Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me to start off with. Like Rich said, I went to school in Santa Cruz, and cosmetology is a 1,600-hour program, which takes about 1.5 years if you're doing 40 hours a week. And I got 500 hours out of the 1,600, and everything got just wiped away. I had to start from square one. Thankfully, I have a very positive outlook on it, and I know that it's only more training for me and more experience behind my back. So I'm thankful for going through that and learning that lesson the hard way. And yeah, I wrote a couple things too. If you don't mind, sorry. Yeah, so I grew up in the salon with my mom and my aunt working, and as just a little toddler, I was running around playing with doll heads and practicing what I thought and I knew was going to be my future. And I'm so thankful that I saw it through, and now here I am just a few months away from succeeding and finishing out what I started. And even though there was a few setbacks, I'm determined to make it happen. Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations, here's $2,000 to help you fulfill your dream.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna have a film shoot. Come on, Etta, come on up here. Etta, Olivia, stay up here. We're gonna do a film shoot. With the president on the other side, and it feels old. There you go. Now you're cooking. All right, now we got it straight. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich. And Olivia and Etta and Anthony, thank you for coming here. And you know, we are all immigrants at some point or the other, and we all go through hardships. And so you know you are not alone in your journey. This is why we are here to support you. And if you need any help, any mentorship or anything later on in life, just reach out to Rich and to any of us over here. We want to see you succeed. We are all rooting for you. Okay? Thank you for coming. And we have our past District Governor, John Grant, who is now our Speaker Committee Chair. Please come and introduce our speaker for today. Thank you.
Thank you for the rousing show of apathy. I'm really very happy to introduce our new city manager, Stephen Chatwin, today. Stephen comes to Foster City after serving as city manager in Fairfield and Imperial, California, as well as public service work in Hayden, Idaho, and Santaquin, Utah. He serves as director of community service in Ogden, Utah, after serving in the U.S. Air Force. Stephen has a degree in international relations from Brigham Young University, and he was a Rotarian in the Rotary Club of Hayden, Idaho, but was nice enough when he came in and introduced himself to say he feels like he's a Rotarian still. So it's been 6 years since he's been in a Rotary Club, but he still feels like a Rotarian. So welcome to the Rotary Club, Stephen. He hopefully looks forward to more chicken lunches and sitting next to and getting sage advice from former city managers Rick Wyckoff and Jim Hardy, and former acting city manager, Chief Tracy Avalar. Stephen was generous enough to agree on a very short notice to speak to our club after being on the job for less than 2 weeks. Please return the favor to him by being welcoming with your questions and inquiries and not asking him when the rec center is going to be done, how many bocce ball courts are going to be put in, and when's that damn levee going to get fixed. So with that admonition, please give a warm Rotary welcome to our new city manager, Stephen Chatwin.
I'm going to try and remember which one of these is mine. Chief, you didn't drink out of this, did you? There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And if I look a little bit overwhelmed, I am still drinking out of that fire hose right now. They tell me that that's about a 6-month process, and then they turn it down just a little bit. So, but I absolutely love it. I've fallen in love with the city of Foster City prior to accepting the job here. In doing my research and in those times when I was fortunate enough to drive through here and spend some time here, when the opportunity presented itself, it was a no-brainer for me and my family. I've got some good news, so you should bring that basket up here so I can pay mine into that. So I'll share that with you. Thank you. This is good news more for me than it is for my wife, but it is amazing news for me. We celebrate 32 years this month of marriage. So, and thank you. And that applause really is for her. She's the one who's had to shoulder most of that after 6 years in the Air Force of never being home and a career as a city manager where Jim, you get it. You understand it. There's a few in this room, I think, that really understand what that's like. Yeah, I'm so impressed with what I saw here with Etta, and I think Etta had to take off, and Olivia, and the perseverance that you've both gone through. Etta's English, 6 years now. Her English is better than mine, and I've been working on it for 54 years. Olivia, your perseverance and not giving up and just keeping that strong chin out there and saying, bring it on, let's go. That's going to serve you well, not just in finishing your studies, but throughout your career and more importantly, throughout your life, because that's what it's all about. And you're going to need that as you continue to move forward. I want to share a few things with you. And our chief is fantastic. You see why she's the chief. She's our chief, and having the opportunity to serve with her and our public safety officials and our entire city staff, it's a humbling experience for me. And you're not going to find better. She is absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, I've worked with a lot of chiefs. She's one of the finest you're ever going to find. And so we're very fortunate to have her. 900 and how many days now? So you're about 1/10 of the way in here. They told me when I took the job, you were sticking around for at least 10 years. Not gonna tell you, because I don't want you to pull them over, or arrest them. Now, I won't get emotional, and the chief doesn't believe that, because she can tell you right now, it was funny, she says, I'm such a girl. My wife thinks I'm a big pansy, because I get emotional as well. And I think it comes with getting a little bit older, and your heart gets a little more tender. The best part of this job is working with amazing people. We have a staff of about 180 at the city of Foster City. These are amazing individuals. They are people with their own stories. Many of them, the type of perseverance that you're hearing about here. They've faced their own mountains, and it's humbling every day to learn from them, to work with them, to be better because of them. And I want to talk a little bit, just very briefly, and I don't want this to be preachy, because I'm the last person in the world that should ever stand up and preach anything. But some concepts that I've kind of learned from the staff that I'm working with now, and previous people that I've worked with throughout my career and my time. So I want to share a few things. You've probably heard some of these stories before. So if you have, pretend you haven't, and you know, in the I believe it was in Forbes, there was a story some years ago, back in 2015, and I'm just going to read that Kari Anderson wrote. And it says this: Charles Plum. I don't know if you all have heard of Charles Plum. He was a US Navy jet pilot. They call them aviators in the Navy for some reason. In the Air Force, they're pilots, but Navy likes to be a little different, I suppose. Any Navy veterans in here? Okay, I love the Navy. They're great. You're not the Air Force, but we still love you a lot. And thank you, by the way, for your service. Charles Plum was a US Navy jet pilot in Vietnam. After, some of this got caught up. After many combat missions, his jet was shot down and destroyed by a surface-to-air missile. Plum ejected, but as was the case for many of our brave men, combat pilots, he ejected and parachuted down and fell into enemy hands. He was captured, and he spent the next 6 years in a communist Vietnamese prison. He survived that ordeal, and now today he speaks on the lessons that he learned from that experience. One day, when Plum and his wife were sitting in a restaurant, a man at another table stood up and came up to him and said, "You're Plum. You flew fighter jets in Vietnam from the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You were shot down." Plum looked at him and said, "How in the world did you know that?" The man smiled and looked back at him and said, "I packed your parachute." Plum gasped. He was surprised, but he was also grateful. The man pumped his hand and said, "I guess it worked." Plum assured him that it sure did work, that if it hadn't been for him, he would not be here today. That night, Plum couldn't sleep. He was thinking about that man. He kept wondering what he might have looked like in a Navy uniform. You guys remember these uniforms. White hat, bib in the back, bell-bottom trousers, very stylish. He wondered how many times he might have seen him and not even said, "Good morning, how are you?" or anything, because you see, he was a fighter pilot, an aviator, and that guy was just a sailor. Plum thought of the many hours that sailor had spent on a long wooden table in the bowels of a ship, carefully weaving the shrouds and folding the silks of each chute, holding in his hands each time the fate of someone he didn't know. Now Plum asks his audience as he speaks, as he does his public speaking, this question: who's packing your parachute? Who has done something that has helped make your life safer or easier or more pleasant? Who have you witnessed packing someone else's parachute? Recognize them right away. Each of us are touched by individuals who provide what we need to make it through the day. Some help inadvertently. Praise that person anyway. You are supporting the kind of behavior that you respect, making it even more likely that it's going to happen again. Plum also points out that he needed many kinds of parachutes when his plane was shot down over enemy territory. He needed his physical parachute. He needed his mental parachute. He needed his emotional parachute. And he needed his spiritual parachute. He called on all of these supports before he was able to reach safety. Sometimes in the daily challenges that life gives us, we miss what is really important. We may fail to say hello, please, thank you. Looking that person full in the eye and acknowledging them when we say it, not just saying it out of habit, but meaning it. And knowing that the person on the other end is another person, a human being, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter. As you go through this day, take the time to recognize those who are packing your parachute. This is something that we had shared with the staff a few weeks ago, I think it was, Chief. It's something that obviously touched me, and as we discussed some things with the staff and as a city manager, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's my place here with this 180 incredibly talented, dedicated, experienced, intelligent individuals that are daily packing parachutes. Daily, they are out working on your behalf. Whether it's the police chief who leaves a team of police officers and support personnel to provide for your public safety every day, to ensure that you are safe. Or whether it's the entry-level maintenance worker or streets worker who is out cleaning up geese poop. They are working on your behalf. And so as I think about that, there's a wonderful book, and some of you may have read it. It's called Boys in the Boat. Anybody here read that book? An amazing book. They're making a movie out of it. Go read the book first. George Clooney's supposed to be in the movie. I get it. That's a great draw. But read the book because it is amazing. I want to talk a little bit about some principles that were brought up in that book. In 1936, an obscure rowing team from the University of Washington traveled to Germany to participate in the Olympic Games. Now, 1936, this is the depths of the Great Depression. These were working class boys. These weren't the boys in the Ivy League schools at Harvard or Yale or wherever. This was the University of Washington, and these were working class boys that came from the families of miners and lumberjacks and so forth. These same towns that these boys came in that were full of these working class people raised money, pulled together little bits of money here and there to be able to send these boys to Berlin to participate in the Olympics. Every aspect of the competition when they arrived seemed to be stacked against them. Everything from one of their anchor rowers of the team of 9, 8 rowers in a what do you call that? Thank you. The rower that sits right next to him at the front or the back, whatever you call that, of the boat. I don't know if it's the front or the back or the bow or the stern. I'm not a Navy guy. I'm sorry. I'm in the Air Force. We go north, south, east, west, and front, rear. I don't know this left, right, that other stuff I don't get. Never will. But, that individual had gotten really sick. And they really weren't sure whether he was even going to be able to do it, if they're going to have to pull out. The lane assignment that they got for the finals was the worst assignment. It was out on the far end, and it was where the water was very rough, and there was this horrible headwind that they were dealing with. Even everybody that was there was saying they don't stand a chance. They're not going to win this. Everything is against them. But something happened in the race. In the rowing world, they call it swing. Listen to this description from the book Boys in the Boat. This is what Daniel James Brown, when he describes it. There's a thing that seems to happen in rowing that is hard to achieve and it's hard to define. Many crews, even winning crews, never really find it. Others find it, but they can't sustain it. It's called swing. It only happens when all 8 oarsmen are rowing in such perfect unison that no single action by any one is out of sync with those of all the others. It's not just that the oars enter and leave the water at precisely the same instant. 16 arms must begin to pull. 16 knees must begin to fold and unfold. 8 bodies must begin to slide forward and backward. 8 backs must bend and straighten all at once. Each minute action, each subtle turn of the wrist must be mirrored exactly by each oarsman. From one end of the boat to the other, only then will it feel as if the boat is part of each of them, moving as if on its own. Only then does pain entirely give way to exultation. Rowing then becomes a king of perfect language, poetry. That's what good swing feels like. Now that's a powerful passage. Hopefully that'll inspire everyone in here to go buy the book. You'll tell Mr. Brown about it. He'll give me some money, some royalties from it. Each team member knows his role. And this is some of the things that we learned from this. And this is how we apply it, not just to rowing teams or athletics or anything else. This is what we apply to the teams that we work with. The police department and your fire department, they know it well. They know every action each is doing and how they support each other and how they make things work. And within a city, when we take a look at public works staff and finance people and our public works employees, our public safety employees, and everybody that is doing things in the parks and recreation and events and all of these things, it applies. Each team member knows his or her role, is extremely skilled at it, and is ready to act in sync with the rest of the team. Everyone is striving for the same goal, and no one is or tries to be more important than the others. A city manager is probably the least important member of that team. My job is to take credit for what they do. That's not really true. My job is to make sure they get the credit that they deserve. That's the job of a city council as well. Those of you who serve on the city council, you get that. You understand that your role in leadership is to provide the resources for those folks that are doing the work and to make sure that they get the credit that they deserve and to help boost them up and support. Everyone is striving for the same goal, and no one is or tries to be more important than the other. It's a team of equals. Each team member possesses and lives the values of the organization. Each team member has committed in both mind and heart to the vision of the organization and is ready and willing to dig deep to achieve it. Each team member trusts the others to do their part. Oh, this is a big one. If you talk to your fire professionals or your police officers, they talk about what it's like to provide mutual support or support for each other as they're entering. Talk to a firefighter. They're not here, so I can say that without them disagreeing with me. Talk to a firefighter about what their role is when they enter a building or they're trying to rescue people in that building or put out a fire. The kind of support when you have them on a hose or they're doing certain things and they rely on each other. My time in the military taught me this, that you had to trust the person right next to you on both sides and those that you couldn't see in order to do their job so that you could do it and get home. Each member trusts the others and they do their part without looking over their shoulder. Everyone communicates with complete openness, complete transparency, hidden or held back. On a team like this, there is no politics. That's a tough one. No politics. Find a way to eliminate the office politics in your area. There's no blame game. There's stellar cooperation and stellar execution. Sweet success. Who wouldn't want their organization to have swing? So I'm going to leave that there. I can go on and read about it, but I'm going to tell you, get the book and read it. There are some other wonderful principles in there where they talk about mind in boat. You remember some of those things, about the focus that you have with what you're doing and not thinking about yesterday's dinner. You know, here you are, this is what you're doing, and you're incredibly focused. Let me just close because I've taken up enough time and it sounds like I'm preaching. I apologize. It is absolutely an amazing experience to work with the staff that I get to work with. The other benefit that I have is I have people like Jim Hardy available to me. Friday, Jim came up and said hi, and I'm sure and I apologize to your wife, Jim, but I'm sure that Jim came up just to say hello. 4 hours later, Jim was looking at his watch saying, I've got to go. I think the grandkids are there. I got to leave. And I'm pulling him back, pleading with him to continue because there's just so much wonderful information. And I mentioned this to him. There are times in my life where I've wished that I could summon myself 20 years from now or 10 years or 15 years and have me come back in time and visit with me now and share with me the wisdom and the things that they've experienced so that I could somehow figure out how to navigate what I was going through. And as Jim and I are talking, I kept thinking, I think I've just summoned a better version of myself 20 years from now. There are huge shoes to fill, and his are one of those pair. And so the big thing for me is don't mess it up. And I mean that with the staff that we have as well. Set them free, get them organized, provide to them the tools, bring them together, and let them do the things that they do so well. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I love Rotary, and I mean it when I say I still feel I'm a Rotarian. It's kind of like the Marine Corps, you know, once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm a Rotarian at heart. I love the mission of Rotary and why Rotary exists, and thank you very much for having me today.
Any? Yes. Any questions for him?
I'm going to say, ask the chief. Yes, sir.
Any decision made on what to do with geese?
That will be on the meeting on the 18th, so Monday. There are lots of options, and I'll tell you, it's certainly one of those things where no matter what you do, somebody's going to be upset with you. So the council has a very challenging, difficult decision. But in my conversations with the council, I can tell you, no kidding, they are incredibly thoughtful about this. They're not taking this lightly. And so there are things that they're trying to do that will be best for this community. They get it. The dialogue is wonderful and it's robust. It's great when you see council members not agreeing with each other. I'm sorry, that's why it's built up the way it is. That's what brings great ideas, is when they disagree. And I love it. And so it's ongoing. Wait and see. I know that that's part of the discussion at this coming council meeting. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, it's been wonderful hearing from you, but you need more English lessons. I can give them to you.
Thank you. I'll take it. I'll take it. My mother is German. She came here when she was 18, and I speak not great English because of my father, who grew up here. My mother's, hers is perfect, right on spot. Yes, ma'am.
Well, the last city manager that came here, and I met him, and he gave me his card and we were gonna go to lunch, and then 2 weeks later he was fired. So I'm not gonna ask you.
Either that or we need to go pretty quick here.
Welcome. I mean, I know people probably might have wanted to hear more detail about the city, but obviously you're new. But I like your philosophy, and I think you need to just get everybody together. And I think you remind me of Jim and Kevin Miller, who I'm sure you'll meet in the very near future.
Kevin and I have talked.
Okay.
Same thing. Oh, wow.
He's in New
Yeah.
York right now.
Yeah.
And
And Rick, I mean, I'm just, it's just such a wealth of experience out there.
They were awesome. So.
Thank you.
Talking to those guys and.
Thank you. Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for all the stories, and thank you, and welcome to Foster City. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Foster City. I know it's in your heart, and now we should have you on paper and on the card, on the credit card. So, anyway, so no, we would really like to have you as a member. It's loved your talk. Thank you. And so this is our speaker's gift. What we do is, in your honor for coming here, we are making a donation to the Rotary Foundation for Polio Plus program. And as you know, Rotary is, at the forefront of that, fighting for polio. And our donation is matched 2 for 1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So that triples, and then it becomes about approximately 400 oral vaccination doses. So thank you, and that's in your honor. And over here are the pictures of our signature project, which Greg Cool, where is he? He's right in the back over there. He leads that project, and you will hear about it more in Foster City. It's playgrounds which are old and going to be given away. He and the Interact kids from San Mateo High School, they go, they remove it, they refurbish it, paint it, and they go to Yurok Nation and Klamath River, and they install it over there.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
So thank you. Thank you for coming. Sure. Thank you. Okay, so some people have teased me about my Indian time, Indian Standard Time, Mary Lou. So I want to say it's 1:17 and we are adjourning early. Okay, so, but wait. So Indian Standard Time is good. Anyways, I want to thank our greeter, Tracy Avelar, pledge, Letissa, and thought of the day, Bob Kaplan, minute taker, Phyllis Harrison, everyone who had good news or you spoke today and you want it in the bulletin, please do send an email to Phyllis and Cindy Sims. It makes it easier for them. So they don't have to try to listen and remember, and it's more accurate. And then you have authority over what is actually printed in our bulletin. So please send your good news, just email it to her directly. And technology table, which is very important. Jim Goel, thank you very much. Curtis Chen, thank you. And Ed Groy for putting up all the banners and the flags. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that, meeting is adjourned.